Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and on today's video I'm going to give you a little tip onto how to make your race just go a little easier, because race season is quickly approaching. Like after summer when we're training, we've got a lot of big races up there. Think Chicago, Sydney and then Chicago, and then of course New York, and the hundreds of other races that you could be training for. So today we're going to be talking about running mantras, and this is like a little word or a phrase that you repeat to yourself when things start getting a little less than easy. Let's get into it. Alright guys, I did come across an article in the Marathon Handbook, and this article is titled 18 Powerful Running Mantras to Keep You Going When the Going Gets Tough. So we'll be going through some of these mantras, and actually I think the most important thing is why mantras are important and why they work. But before we get into the article and start talking about mantras, just a reminder that I will be running the Tokyo Marathon in March of 2026. And in order to get that entry for the Tokyo Marathon, I am raising money for Ronald McDonald House. And if you want to contribute, you are more than welcome to. In fact, you are encouraged to. And as of this moment of the filming of this video, you guys have raised $726.99. And that puts us 36% of the way to my goal, which is $2,000. That is actually pretty fantastic, I think. 36% already. We still have several months to go. I will, of course, keep you guys up to date on the progress of the fundraising, but I think we might make it. Anyway, of course, I will place a link in the show notes below, and I will pin a top comment with the link just to make it easy for you to find if you want to contribute to a great cause. Okay, but let's get into the reason you actually clicked on this video, and that's mantras. And you all know why mantras are important, right? Well, maybe you don't. Maybe if you haven't got to that point in your run where maybe a mantra would help, you might not realize how much help they can actually give you. But they can, because, you know, running isn't just a physical sport, it's a mental sport. And of course, there is that old adage about running being 90% mental, the rest is in your mind. Something like that. But yes, running is a mental game. And when you are running and you're feeling tired, it feels like your body is given up. That's not actually the case. A lot of the time, your mind is tricking you into telling you that your body is given up. But really, it's your mind that has already decided it doesn't want to work anymore. And look, it can happen to the very best of us. And by the best of us, I mean pro runners. And pro runners often use mantras in order to push through hard times. And personally, yeah, I have ended runs because I'm just not feeling it. Not because my body isn't feeling it, just because I'm not feeling it up here. And while there is absolutely no shame in cutting a run short just, you know, because you can't be bothered, if you don't want to do that, then maybe you could incorporate a mantra. And of course, if you have paid to enter a race, you probably don't want to give up just because you're not feeling it, right? You want to complete what you set out to do, especially if you paid for it. So ultimately, these mantras are going to shift your mindset. They're going to refocus your energy and carry you through those tough workouts and those events that you really want to do well in. So the article points out that Stoicism, Buddhism, Taoism, they all instruct their followers to repeat specific chants. The word mantra is a Sanskrit word meaning instrument for thinking, which is actually quite funny because it is an instrument for thinking, but the whole point of it is that it stops you from thinking about other things, right? When we repeat a mantra in our head, we are doing it to take focus off the other thoughts. And when we're deep into a hard workout or a race where just things aren't feeling well and we don't know if we can continue to the end, the mantra is going to take your mind off of those negative feelings of not being able to complete it and allow you to focus on something different. And basically just let your mind dial in on the task at hand without worrying about all the external factors. By external, I mean like external in your mind. So external, internal, you know, those intrusive thoughts. Now, the reason that you need to do this is because your brain, I mean, a lot of times it's just out of control. It's always coming up with a story to interpret how things are going. So you might be running and you might be thinking, oh, I'm tired. Oh, it's hot out. Oh, it's cold out. Oh, I'm feeling weak today. And look, all these things may be true, but they may not be true to the extent that you actually have to stop your run. We use mantras to kind of dial down that internal noise that's constantly going on. But here's the thing, you don't just use mantras when things are going easy. You don't just use mantras on every single run. Like you don't go out for an easy recovery run and just start repeating, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong in your mind, right? It's gonna dilute the power. I mean, maybe not, but it's not gonna mean as much, right? You pull that tool out of the toolbox when you actually need to use it. So think about your running long intervals and you get to those last couple intervals and they are just not as easy as the first couple. That's when you reach into the toolbox and you pull out I am strong, or any other mantra. When you start to turn up the heart rate, turn up the speed, that's when you can pull out I am strong. Repeat it over and over again until that interval is over. And hopefully hopefully, I mean, I don't know if it's going to make it any easier, but what it is going to do is make you not realize how hard it is, or it's not going to make you think about how difficult it is because you are repeating that mantra. Right? Sounds simple enough, right? So the article also lists a couple of like famous runners and their mantras and what they use to get through tough times. For example, Bill Rogers repeated relentless. Right? Bill Rogers won the Boston Marathon 4 times, so he is probably someone to listen to. You know, funnily enough, I actually met Bill Rogers a couple of years ago when he came to Sarasota to talk to our running club, but that's not really a very good story. In fact, that is the whole story. Anyway, he seemed like a nice guy. A little more recently, Des Linden uses calm, 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 relax, relax, relax. And this, I think, after we go through the whole list of suggested mantras, is the one that I can really appreciate. Of course, you all know Des. She won, or I guess most famously, won the Boston Marathon in 2018 when that weather was absolutely horrendous. And she uses calm, 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 relax, relax, relax. And that just really speaks to me, because when I am running and things are starting to get a little tough, I know I am not feeling calm. Like things are starting to feel like an emergency. And I do have to remind myself to just relax and calm down. Yes, I am here for that one. Rob Kra, ultra runner extraordinaire, uses focus, focus, focus. And I think these type of mantras really speak to me. This simple one-word mantra that is just repeated over and over again. And I like this type of mantra, especially focus, because when we are in the pain cave and things are going tough and we've got a job to get done, we have to remind ourselves to focus on actually what we're doing and not how difficult what we're doing is. And repeating that, focus, 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 can actually do that. Look, if it's good enough for Rob Kra, I'm telling you it's good enough for us. Amelia Boone repeats, you get to do this. And this one, I don't know, this one doesn't really speak to me. I like to tell myself that I get to do this when I'm not feeling appreciative that I get to run. I don't think if I'm actually in a race and, you know, I've got a couple miles left of the marathon and things are really just difficult. Yes, I can remind myself that I get to do it, but I don't think I would repeat that as a mantra. But I still like it because it's important to remind ourselves that if we are out for a run, it's true. We get to do this. Rich Roll uses the mantra, mood follows action. And basically, you don't wait for the mood to strike. You take action to encourage that mood to strike. So in order to shift out of our discomfort, we lean into action. And I like this, or at least I hold this to be true in my own opinion. Again, I don't think I would repeat this as a mantra, mood follows action, mood follows action. It just doesn't seem to flow, and I don't think that would actually work for me. Which actually brings up a very good point, which I'll get into right now, is that mantras are very individual, right? It doesn't matter what all these people that I'm just telling you about, the mantras that they use, if it doesn't click for you, if it doesn't sound right to you, if it doesn't elicit a feeling, it's not going to elicit that feeling that you want when you actually need it to work. So Sarah True, you know, the Olympic athlete and triathlete, her mantra is, this too shall pass. And yes, I like to think that, I do think that when things are getting tough, this too shall pass, especially when I'm doing intervals and they're really hard. But you know what? I have a rest like just around the corner, seconds away. So when it's hurting, yes, this too shall pass. It is a good reminder. Again, I'm not sure about that being a mantra for me, but if it is for you, if that works for you, definitely drop a comment and let me know. Okay, before we get into the next stage of the mantras, which the article titles like everyday mantras, I just want to encourage you that if you are just watching this video and you're liking this subject, if you like running, go ahead and just hit that little like button and subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out. Maybe to help get this video out to other runners that might need to see it. So thanks for that. Moving on. The next mantra is onwards. Just repeating, onwards. What direction do you want to move? Onwards, right? It works. And it's one word and it's easy to repeat, and I could see how this would actually click for a lot of people, right? Onwards, onwards. Yeah, I can see how that would work. Personally, I don't like the word onwards. Like, it's like people running their nails down a chalkboard when someone says to me onwards and upwards. Just a little cringeworthy and cliche. But if you like that, then yeah, good for you. I can see how that would work as a running mantra. Next up, very simply, I can do it. Yes, I can see how this would work for a mantra. I can do it. I can do it. Yes, that is going to take your mind off of the negative and it's going to put a positive spin on it. And yes, that's true. You can do it. Why not tell yourself that you can do it? Next up is strong, confident, relaxed. And again, I think this has the makings of a really good mantra. Strong, confident, relaxed. We've got simple, easy to repeat words that are going to encourage you to act out what these words are telling you. Be strong, be confident, be relaxed. Again, I think this is a great mantra. The next mantra that the article suggests is I am a runner. And look, I don't know. This is stupid. I am a runner. Look, of course, it's not stupid if it works for you. You are a runner, right? If you have gotten to that point where you need to actually tell yourself a mantra in order to keep going, my friend, you are a runner. I don't know. I mean, if you use that, if you use the mantra, I am a runner, I definitely want to hear from you, but I'm betting that no one out there actually says that to themselves because it is self-evident, right? I'm not going to repeat to myself, I am a person, I am a person. No, that's just silly. Let's move right along. This next section, the article describes it as mantras for low motivation days, which for all I know, I mean, I don't know. Let me just speak for myself. A lot of my days are low motivation days because I choose to get out before motivation actually strikes. Because remember, mood follows action. So if we take action, the mood will follow. And I think we're getting into some mantras that, I don't know, for me, they're not really mantras, but for those low motivation days, the article suggests repeating something like, the biggest privilege is able to choose your struggles. And yes, while that actual sentence is true, I don't know, how many times are we going to repeat that to ourselves? I think these full sentences just don't have the same punching power of something very short. Next up, anything is better than nothing. And you know what? While I don't think this is a mantra, or perhaps it is, perhaps, you know what? I'm going to actually change my mind, a complete 180 on this. I think I've actually used this. You know, during races when things are getting tough, when you go to a race and you have a goal, and then as time goes on, as you start getting tired, you start negotiating with yourself. It's like, well, you know I was going to run a 3-hour and 30-minute marathon, but now, you know what, I think I'll be happy with 4 hours. That negotiation just comes on, and as you get towards the end of the race, the negotiation just continues. So anything is better than nothing that's a good thing to just repeat to yourself, because it's going to stop you from giving up, because anything is better than nothing, right? That's what we need to tell ourselves when we don't feel like going out, actually getting that run done. Anything is better than nothing. Somewhat in the same vein, the article also suggests any job worth doing is worth doing badly. And while this that strikes me as not being a mantra at all, I still think it's kind of true. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly. And what that means is if you are going out for an interval, but you know what, you're not motivated and you're feeling tired and your legs are a little sore because you did weights the day before, right? And yet you still want to knock out this interval run. Well, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. It means that you're going to go out and do your intervals, even if you're not hitting those exact paces. You're still putting in the effort. May not be doing exactly what you wanted, but you're doing more than you would have without actually going out, right? I think that's pretty good. That's worth remembering. Of course, I'm never going to repeat it to myself, but I think it's worth keeping in mind. Next up, another one that I think is actually quite good is just finish. And this, I don't know how long before the finish line you would actually have to start repeating this just finish to yourself, but it seems like you would have to be pretty close. But I think this works as a mantra. Just finish, just finish. I can see repeating this to myself. It's the same thing like anything is better than nothing. You just want to keep your legs moving. Just finish. Next up, I think is another silly mantra. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. I mean, unless you want to spark Billy Ocean playing in your head, I don't know how you would actually repeat that during the run. But, you know, I guess it's true, right? Or at least it's a cliche that we want to be true. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, suggesting that you are tough, so it's time to get going. But maybe a little encouraging. Keep going, lion. This is a Kenyan mantra. Of course, I'm willing to wager that if you're watching this, you probably don't have too many lions around. I think we can all appreciate where this comes from, and it's nice and short. Keep going, lion. We're tapping into the strength of a lion and we're encouraging ourselves to keep going. This is actually a very good mantra. Next up is up and over. Just repeat, up and over, which is probably very useful if you're like doing a trail run or you're up on the hills, or you know what, you're doing any hilly run. Up and over. And I could see how this might work if you were on a very hilly course and you just wanted to encourage yourself to keep those legs turning over. All you want to do is get to the top so you can use gravity to help you come down, right? Up and over. I could see how this one might work. The next one is a no-no, in my opinion. But the article suggests that I'm stronger than I think is an appropriate mantra. And I don't know, it doesn't seem to work for me. I'm stronger than I think. No, because it's indicating that you think you are not strong. And these mantras have to be positive. They have to encourage us to keep working. I know that you could twist it around and it says, I am stronger than I think, which indicates that you are stronger than you think, but it also indicates that you think you're not strong. So, we're going to rule that out. So, I want to hear from you. Which of these mantras did you like? Do you use any other mantras when you're actually out for a run or in a race? Definitely want to hear them, because it's something that I may borrow for my next race. I just want you to keep in mind that running mantras are to be focusing on what you want to achieve, right? You don't want the mantra to focus on the struggle that you're trying to overcome. So, for example, if I'm out there and I'm running and I'm really tired, I'm not going to be repeating to myself, I'm not tired, right? It's not going to work that way. Repeat something like strong, confident, relaxed, calm, relax. Yes, these type of mantras, those are what we're going for, and those will help you get to the finish that workout when you need them to. All right, my friends, thank you for staying all the way through the end of this video. And if you have made it till this point, in order to show me that you made it to this point, I want you to drop that little puking face emoji, you know, the one where it's like green stuff is being thrown up. That's what I want in the comments, because that is what we are trying to avoid. No, that is the kind of feeling that I want a mantra to overcome, right? You're pushing that hard that you need to use a mantra so you don't throw up. I don't know, that's not really a good reason, but that's the mantra I've chosen for today, so drop it in the comments. For now, it's Matt V. This has been a video on running mantras and how they can make you a better runner. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.